Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining me today for the Business of Youth Sports podcast. I'm the host, Jennifer Pivnik. I'm also the president of U.S. Sports Club Insurance. Today, our discussion is with a friend of mine and an extremely brilliant, innovative thinker in the youth sports industry, Ziad. He is the CEO and founder of Zimcode. He has a couple of products that are really unique to the youth sports industry that I just absolutely adore. We're not really discussing those products today. We're really talking about the evolution of youth sports. And right now, what each organization needs to do to stop and look at their business, how they're running their business, and things to start thinking about moving forward. Okay, thank you for joining me. This is my friend Ziad Tleimat, and he is the CEO of Team Runner and Travelish, which is two great organizations that solve some giant problems in the youth sports industry. And today we are having a conversation that is designed to help youth sports really look at how they can elevate their business and adjust their business so that they can survive and not die. So thank you for joining me.
My pleasure there, Jennifer. Thanks for having me over. We, just like everybody else, has been affected greatly by COVID. And we want to survive. We want our customers to survive. And that's why we're talking to them about how to look at the market and market conditions, new technologies coming in, and how to change and adapt. And that's why we're presenting this here, Survive or Die. So we want to make sure everybody survives. And shift happens. Coronavirus came in out of nowhere and has tremendously accelerated the death of old models. And new ideas and technologies are being accelerated into the market right now.
Which I think has kind of been a good thing, don't you think? That is one of the positives that I feel has come out of this, is that, the youth sports kind of world is forced to stop and look at their ways of communicating with their customers. And so some of these new ideas and technologies are really coming to light and helping these organizations.
Well, it's extremely positive, but at the speed it's going on, some people may not be able to adjust and adapt and be left behind.
Right.
So this is why you want to bring that up to the surface and say, well, the way we were doing business before is not going to survive for many reasons, okay? And we'll address these reasons. And so this is why we're here talking about. You want to survive. And this here picture brings to mind 2008 elections. I don't know if you remember that. There were Obama and McCain. Mm-hmm. There was a company called Airbnb in 2007 that was having a hard time generating any revenues. Zero. There's no traction whatsoever. By 2008, they were about to close, and no investors was giving them a penny. So what they did, they created these cereal boxes and they sold them out. So their Airbnb and generated over $30,000 in revenues that way. And they were able to extend their lifetime and be able to understand what their customers did not buy from them and change. And they are now a multi-billion-dollar company. So you do anything possible in your power to survive. There's nothing wrong with that.
Right.
And the only way to survive, there's two ways to survive. Either you cut cost, and cutting costs includes layoffs, expenses. You either merge with other clubs in the area, same sports, or what's popular in Europe is that you merge the local community will have a multi-sport club. For example, like Barcelona, that's a big club. They have volleyball, they have basketball, they have soccer. Soccer is the most dominant when people hear about it, but they have 7 sports. So you form that up and you cut costs that way. You cut overhead costs.
I do see that as a trend.
That's coming because I tell you why it's coming, and you're ahead of the presentation here, because that makes the club a big hub for the community, okay? And it becomes everybody involved in all sports, everything. Or, the way to survive, you can increase your revenue. That's the only 2 ways you can survive. You can either decrease cost or increase revenue.
Correct.
There's no other ways. And how do you increase revenues? You focus on the core competencies you do. You can acquisition. You can acquire new clubs. If you're a bigger club and you can merge with, acquire other clubs, and that's where you're increasing your customer base and increasing your membership fees. You need to learn how to know your customers. And as in real estate, they tell you location, location, location. Knowing your customer is data, data, data. So everything you do with the club, you have to learn how to manage that data you get. You have to be able to adopt change or lead it even. Be the leader in change. I mean, right now we're going through changes very massively, very fast. And lead that. Don't fight it, because if you fight it, you're going to be left behind.
Correct.
There's a lot of technologies which I'll address is AI, artificial intelligence, AR and VR, augmented reality, virtual reality. There's a lot of apps coming out. There's a lot of focus on features. When people buy software, they focus on features. They need to focus on process, because you don't want a software to scratch your right ear. You don't want them to make you scratch it with your left hand. That's a feature. I can scratch my right ear with my right hand or my left hand. Which one do you want me to do it with? It's easier to do it with my right hand. You want to be able to analytics that gives you knowledge, and it gives you cross-selling.
Absolutely.
Cross-sell other things, other services.
And let's talk about that for a second. And I might be jumping the gun, and you might have this down there a little bit further, but focusing on the process, not the features. I think that, for youth sports organizations, or really anybody that's been in business or the same business for a long time, you can kind of get stuck in a rut. And it's important to stop and analyze, am I doing this the best way? Is there some type of new technology that's out there that can help me do this process better, whatever that process is, whether it's running a camp or how you communicate with your players, or whether you want to add a tournament, or how you want to generate extra revenue and manage the current revenue process that you have. So I think that that's really important. And then analyzing all of that information, which gives you the knowledge and the opportunity for the cross-selling, that's going to be where I think a lot of organizations are missing the opportunity to have strategic partners with other core competencies within like that industry. So, you could have a local hospital be a sponsor, or you can have local restaurants sponsor a camp. Like, there's different ways that you can partner with other businesses in your organization that bring, extra opportunities of revenue. And I just don't think everybody's always aware of that. And you're going to become aware of that when you have the knowledge.
I agree, but you cannot go get a good, a good sponsorship.
Right.
If I go to Marriott, for example, right? And I say, Marriott, I need a sponsorship. I'm a executive director of a club. Mm-hmm. If I say, Marriott, I need a sponsorship from you. We have 70 traveling teams. We have this much. We do this much. And Marriott is going to ask for data. How much did you spend at Marriott last year? Or how much did you spend on your travels last year? If I can give Marriott economic impact, exactly what I did and how I did it or where I did it, they're not going to listen to me. If I tell them, hey, listen, we have 5 tournaments, we did this exactly, we generated $5 million for the Marriott last year, we want a sponsorship, they're going to listen, and their ears are going to prick out.
Absolutely.
So that's why I'm trying to bring in maturity into the business of youth clubs.
Absolutely.
Right now they are, and I don't blame them, they are just people who are trying to serve the community, the local community, and they were a way of doing things in the past, and that needs to change. And I will address what kind of roles the club should have. Mm-hmm. Okay. But also you want to be able to be transparent with your members, with your customers, very important.
Yes.
And the technologies you adopt has to give you that ability to be transparent and allows you to be personalized things. It's, again, I'll show you why you want to do that. It's not customization, it's personalization, because the two of us are members of the same club. We have different needs, and we have different ways of spending money, right? You want to be able to allow me to personalize these things so I can spend, if I want to spend more in an item A and you want to spend more in item B, that's the way it should be done. So the new customers is the millennials. There are 84 million of them, right? And 45% have kids. And some of them kids are already playing in sports. And this is the customer that can spend their money at the sports clubs for the next 10, 15 years at least.
Right.
So if you don't get to know them and know their cultural habits and spending habits and what they care about, what they don't care about, we're going to fail. We spent about a year and a half studying them, actually, trying to understand their habits, how they want the technology to work, how they want things to do. So we changed all our approach the last 2 years to make sure we fit that model. We fit the way they behave and they spend money. Because if we cannot get the customers to spend money, we go out of business.
Correct.
The one thing is very transparent. And you asked me how. Notice since the millennials came in to start working in corporate America, the equal pay has gained more traction, right? Equal pay for equal work. About 80% of millennials share their salaries with each other. So now in the workplace, they share their salaries. So it used to be a very private thing how much money you made. They share it. They want everybody to know so nobody gets shafted, nobody gets the short end of the stick. So this is very, very important to them. They're highly educated. They are the most educated generation in U.S. history. They have over 33% have college degrees. So they're very well versed. They know what they're doing. And popular belief says they are lazy. I just completely disagree with that. They're very motivated. They're value driven. They like to spend their money, but they like to get very good value for it. And that came out from the first recession and the big recession in 2008, when the parents lost their home. They either they were homeless for a while or lived in cars or had somebody to help them. So they've been through hard times. And they really appreciate good values. They spend money. They spend quite a bit of money, but they're always looking for the best deal and best value. They're experience-focused, so they're not just want to go through travel. They want to have an experience that fulfills them personally. And they love to travel, by the way. They do love to travel. They're non-conforming. They don't listen. I don't know if you have millennials in your household.
I do.
They don't listen. They don't care what people tell them about advice. They want to try it out for themselves. And they tell you, look what you did, where you brought us about financial crisis and this and that. So they want to be able to explore.
Yeah.
And multicultural. And if you notice, in the last few years, last 10 years, company with good cause usually tends to do much better than company without a good cause. And they prefer to buy from the companies with a good cause. So have a good cause. Make sure their purpose is not just to teach the kids soccer, is why you're teaching the kids soccer and what you're going to do with the revenues you get and how you're going to improve the local community. That's very important to them. So the market conditions right now, as you know, we have a lot of fear. It's health-driven fear. A lot of people, people not afraid, people afraid. So you have to respect that. As a business owner, you have to respect that.
Agree.
You cannot just ignore it. If you don't believe in the virus or if you don't believe in the condition, you have to respect it. Mm-hmm. And there's a huge economic hardship right now out there. And you have to understand it. You have to, in a way, not just understand that these people don't have the money or they're afraid in a month or two they're not going to have any money. Right now, I advise every youth sports club to anticipate drop in participation, which is going to lead to drop in revenue, drop in travel, and tournament attendance. Because, again, the economic hardships we have in 2008, according to the Aspen Institute, after the 2008 economic collapse, we had 20% drop in participations. So right now, we expect to have at least about 20 to 30% drop. And that's a major drop in revenue for everybody.
Correct.
There are 35 million people unemployed right now in the U.S. And it is what I believe is that free play is going to come back, where kids can go and play for free. Unorganized, the sandlot kind of things. You just go and play because the parent's not going to have the money to pay for that.
Yeah, and there's a lot of ways that clubs can be creative.
Yes, there are a lot of ways. For example, a club can have I love soccer, so a club can have a free play between 5 and 7, reserve the fields. All these kids can come in for free play. There's no coaching. Just come out and play.
I love that idea.
That will be very appreciated. That's your cause. It's just like there's no coaching. There's no anything, but we'll be adults watching.
Right.
The parents could volunteer to come and watch. There's no refs. Just come and play. And that's the best place and best way to develop your personal skills, actually, where everything goes, no reffing, no coaching. Kids tend up to be free and be imaginative.
But if you're really going to look at the structure of an organization, maybe that's a solution that you say, look, we're not going to charge for under 7 years old or 6 years old or whatever metric you set, but then you still have some kind of organized free structure that coaches maybe have to do a couple skill sessions and take it back to grassroots where you're providing a service to the community.
Well, the way I believe it should be open to all kids' ages. And what happens, the older kids teaches the younger kids how to play, how to do catch.
Oh, good idea.
If you are on my team, it's important for me to let you be a better player so we could win or do something. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to come and show you how to do things. That's the way I learned soccer in a way when I was a kid. It's not by coaches, by other people showing me how to do tricks, by other people showing me where to stand, what to do. And it's on the street. We played on the street, but right now we don't let our kids play in the street in the States. But if there was a structured free play for kids to go and just have fun and lose their energy, get their energy out, that would be a good cause for a club.
Yeah.
Hey, listen, we want to be in the part of the community. We want to be this help for you. And again, the market has shifted recently, and the economist says data is the most valuable resource, not oil anymore. And that's why if you look at the valuation of companies, you see the likes of Amazon and Google that's worth hundreds of billions, while the big oil companies are way down now. So it's changed. And we also have the subscription economy, where especially the millennials, they love subscriptions. They always go into subscriptions mode. So Netflix, hey, it's $8.99 a month or $10.99 a month, and all of a sudden they have 30, 40 subscriptions a month.
Right.
How do we take advantage of that? How do we utilize that? And technologies, something called NLP, that's natural language processing. That's Alexa or Siri. You talk to the device, and the device answers you, understands what you want. So it has a lot of artificial intelligence behind it. So how do we look at that and be able to put our services there, right?
Absolutely.
How do I do coaching? How do I teach my kid how to do this, right? It's going to happen. It's already happening. We have wearables, right? Technology wearables. And that is going to be, how should I say, the first generation's out, the second and third generations are coming in, and they're going to have so much intelligence into them. So it's going to not just tell you data about your heart rate and this and that. It's going to be able to tell you compared to other athletes in the world, and how do they, at his age, what does he have to do to move around? So, and all these apps are coming out, and they're going to challenge typical coaches who tells you, oh, this is the way you need to kick a ball, this is the way you need to jump. No, the apps can do that with the wearables, and they're going to be able to see things the naked eye can't see. And of course, we have the augmented reality and VR, and that is changing everything too. It's right now the way with augmented reality, where basketball is really professional. The NBA talking to a lot of companies about, you put the goggles and you are sitting in the front seat, in the front row of a game.
Yeah, there's some good soccer ones too. There's actually a good heading game. There's definitely a skill of eye-hand coordination development through the virtual reality.
Yeah, so it's all there. It's all coming. It's all coming to, and it's going to be very affordable.
Yeah.
Again, COVID has accelerated all these developments. And the last thing I want to talk about technology is 3D printing. I know right now it's only a lot of people print their cleats or their shoes, print their shin guards, but it's going to be printing a lot more stuff. It's going to print devices. It's going to be able to print moving objects in the new generations. And we also know the IoT, Internet of Things. So you have all these, you have the wearables on you. And so now we have the wearables from the whole team connected to many devices, and you'll be able to see how your team moving in real time and how you can adjust it with all that. So it's all coming in part of coaching. So the millennials plus the technologies plus the market condition, I believe, is going to lead to sports 2.0, the perfect storm. And COVID has accelerated all of that. And how do we take advantage of that? How do we survive all of this? There's a player development. It has to be cheaper and better and 24/7. So as a coach, you're not going to be there by yourself. You're going to be able to have the apps to help you. Coaching. Stephen Curry is one of the most known basketball players in the world, is invested into coaching apps. There's a reason. He believes he can coach every kid how to handle the ball better than you or me coach the kid. And if it's a kid, who do you think they're going to learn from, me or Stephen? They're going to learn from Stephen Curry. Or from me or Messi. They're going to learn from Messi. And it's going to be all taken, wearables and everything, and be able to follow exactly what he does in real time.
Now, have you seen this? Can we go back to that for a second? Because my brain is actually just spinning from opportunities that I'm thinking of this. Have you seen the time frame of this being realistic, that you could put something like this into a club's hand? Where I'm thinking is, you've got your high level coaches that are all within an organization that are sought after, that they can only have, so many players on their team and everybody wants them. And so I'm taking this down from the professional player all the way down to the popularity of a certain coach that is really good. What if a coach was able to record this, and then you have the wearables that go with it to teach that? Have you seen anything like this, that this can be translated to actually a club being able to utilize this upcoming technology, or is that still down the road?
There's the first generation is out. I mean, Stephen Curry invested in a company that does app coaching. He put about $1 few million in it. And he's one of the coaches on it. And they did release their first, and they have changed a lot since then. So this is one of the companies. There's a lot more at the higher end right now, but I believe little by little it's going to go down to the youth level.
Yeah.
For example, if the wearables and apps is going to cost $1,500 right now, right? Parents not going to buy that.
Right.
When it becomes, so this is mostly professional teams. When it becomes a price point much lower, then it becomes available to everybody. But it has to be proven at the higher end, and if it's proven at the higher end, then it can go down to the lower end. the mass market.
Yeah.
This is what they're doing.
Well, I'm thinking about this of, we were just talking a second ago about subscriptions. Like, how do you tie in, like, understanding, like, your marketplace?
It will be all subscription model.
Yeah.
This will be all subscription model.
And you could tie in sponsors.
And the thing is that if the clubs and coaches don't adopt it, the kids can adopt it, the parents can adopt it. Because if I can do for $15 a month, I can get this, and I can get Stephen Curry to work with my kids through the apps. Why would I want to pay $200 a session for coaches, or $100 or $50? You follow what I'm saying?
Right, absolutely.
It's going to be, the parents has to change, the coaches have to change their roles, the way they think. And the app coach, of course, it's they're cheaper, they're 24/7, they're anywhere, they're personalized, and they're transparent. So all the apps that are coming right now, and this is actually a picture from real apps. It's not just one sport; it's multiple sports. They monitor you, they monitor your movements, and it's gonna be in the next 2-3 years. It's gonna be very, very different, and it's gonna be accelerated to the 10th degree.
Okay, so then again, I'm thinking back to, like, how do we help the clubs kind of survive? And with that app kind of coach, is there an organization that's out there that would private label or white label that for a club, so it could be their own subscription-based model, and then maybe they make a little bit off the top since they're the ones that developed it and are servicing it? Is that like a reality?
I don't know. It could be, but right now all these companies are focusing on going directly to the athlete.
Right.
Okay. It is, transparency is good, right? And a lot of companies right now, what they do, they go to the club and they give them a rate of $30 a month, and they cut $5 or $10 to the club, right?
Mm-hmm.
The parents pay, and the club makes money. That business model, I don't know how it's going to work in the next 2 years, because, again, you have people without money trying to bring their kids to a club. And if you have so many different expenses, that might be an obstacle. So what I will do, I will research. If people want to reach out to me, I will research and see who's doing what and what's going on.
Yeah, I think that could be a really good option.
Yeah. And next, the AR and VR, tryouts and recruiting could be all done with that very shortly. You can put an avatar of a player into the moving screens of other players that you know. So let's say you're looking for striker, and you can take a video of striker and merge it into your AR, and then see how the striker behaves with your team.
Wow.
It's all coming. But that is coming at the very, very high end right now. But it will be coming, so you don't have to leave. I mean, right now, for the NFL, they could not try out these kids that drafted.
Mm.
So how do you try them out?
Right. I feel like we're looking at the future.
Yeah, this is a professional basketball player here, DeAndre Jordan, that was AR. He improved, in a private setting, he improved his free throws shooting from less than 50% to 80%. But they say when he went out back with wearables, when he went back to the real basketball, he refused to follow the same, movements. So he went back in there. But this has been the Washington Post. So what do I see from coaches? Coaches, they're just not going to be what they call it, technical person. They're going to have their soft skills to come to the surface. Very important. They're going to be able to be leaders, motivators. Emotional intelligence is extremely big, is going to be, especially in dire times like what we have right now, where, families afraid, kids afraid, families don't have money. So how do you reassure them? How do you talk to them? It's not about, your kid can shoot, your kid can't shoot. It's different.
Absolutely.
They're going to be able to learn technologies and learn all these apps and see which one works. And they're going to learn how to negotiate really well with everybody. So that's what about the coaching skill that I see. It's going to come more than the soft skills. It's going to come to the surface a lot more and be utilized a lot more. The clubs, they might look at subscription as a business model. Registration, everything is instead of so different level of subscriptions. So you can be a regular, a gold, a bronze, just like everybody else,
Like a gym, yeah.
Your subscription.
Well, I think that, the other benefit of changing over to a model like that, especially right now, I think there's going to be a lot more of a need of it, is because, currently clubs would like to be paid within the first 6 months. Now this is a sport that's signing, let's say, a 12-month commitment. The clubs want to get, those payments so that they're not being a bill collector, every single month all year long. But with technology, I think that there's a way for a happy medium between the two. Because if you extend the payment plans or all the way through the 12 months, you're making that more affordable for the families. And it's just a better way to look at it.
We might want different services.
Right.
You might believe your kid is going to be the second coming of Messi. Mm-hmm. I might believe my kid is just there to have fun, and I really don't care about college. I don't care about any of that. Why would we pay for the same services, right?
Right.
Have a subscription models for different services, and within different. For example, I'm rec, but I might want my kid to get extra work. And you are competitive, you're very competitive, but again, different services, different levels. And I will bundle all of that, like a training, private training sessions. I will bundle all of that. So that's part of the service. So parents can have a choice and they can pay on a monthly fee. Or if they want to pay for the whole year in advance, they can do that. But think about, be open-minded. That's what I'm just saying, be open-minded. Don't just put yourself in a corner and say, no, we've done it this way for the last 20 years, and we're going to come back to it. It could work, it may not work. But be open-minded and look at other ways of doing business. Again, the club is a community hub. Okay, if you have a club like where I live, it's pretty close. We have, for example, Walnut Creek Surf has over 2,400 kids. We have Mustang Soccer has 4,000 kids. These are big community hubs. There's 4,000 families in that club. You got to be able to take advantage of that. You got to be able to find technologies to make it okay. I want to learn more about my families. I want to learn how they do, what they do, so I can cross-sell something else to them. I can cross-market things to them. I can have, again, partnerships with other services to offer to the families.
Absolutely.
Have a cause. It's very good to have a cause. It doesn't hurt. And be true to your cause. Don't just have a cause because you think it's a good marketing ploy.
Right. Well, like one example of that, especially in youth sports, that, was kind of a problem at Solar that we worked really hard to solve was the Pinktober. Like the month of October, everybody was running around trying to get something pink, but the only thing it was really doing was increasing consumerism. Like there was not like any actual organized plan to take the money that was raised from people going and running around to wear pink and then donating it somewhere. So about 4 or 5 years ago, we as an organization decided to take a look at that, stop, say, okay, we know everybody wants to be a part of this because they're going and doing it on their own. So how, as an organization, can we help facilitate that? So we negotiated with Adidas, we negotiated with our uniform supplier, and we negotiated with the hospital that we partnered with, and then we included that pink shirt as part of their uniform package every single year that the parents were going to buy anyway. Then we donated every single bit of the proceeds from that to the hospital that was in our community where the funds stayed for their breast cancer program. And like the impact was real, like you could feel it. And then we had a giant presentation with all of the players in the club to just really come out and present the check to the hospital. And you could just feel the change in the atmosphere, knowing that the shirt that they were wearing, even though it was for only the month of October, but it meant something. And that it was no longer just going and trying to buy pink socks. It was something that was organized from the club. But someone at the club had to be the one to have the forethought to do that and then implement it and execute it and have those conversations. But it's just a, example of having a cause that your organization just buys into, and you can simply look at what your parents are already doing. Imagine if every single youth sports organization in the country that participates in Pinktober actually took those funds and donated it to breast cancer.
Again, you have to believe in the cause.
Yeah.
Because if you don't, it shows right away. People can tell you're just going through the motion.
Right.
And don't believe in it and don't participate and don't buy from you.
Right.
If my cause is, for example, we have a cause. We want kids to play sports. Mm-hmm. We don't care at any level. It doesn't have to be competitive. Could be all rec, could be top soccer. We just want them to play sports. And we donate to these causes. We have, because we believe the more kids play sport, the better it is for our future. Because sports teaches a lot of life lessons and gives you a lot of self-confidence, actually.
Absolutely.
When you are a kid and you kick a ball and it goes in a goal in a game, that stays with you forever sometimes. And that's the only goal you scored in your life. That stays with you forever. And you believe in yourself. Like, if I do this, I can do it. So that's our cause. And we are 100%. Everything we do is based on that. And so also you want to make sure your customer experience is paramount. Extremely important. And you want to have technology coordination. Mm-hmm. So there's a lot of technologies coming down the pipeline. And you're a soccer guy, you're a basketball guy, you've established this club, the club is thriving, and now there's 10,000 technologies coming at you. How do you choose?
Right.
That's not your cup of tea. And you cannot afford to have people hired for technology, research. So,
well, I do think it's important to, as part of an organization, to really invest time looking and seeing what's out there. And I will say, even though our conversation between you and I is really not geared towards the solutions that you provide, Travelish and Team Runner, but I do have to at least stop and say, when the Team Runner platform in particular, when I looked at it and the problems that it solves on the tournament aspect, from the customer experience and the way that a club can manage the extra, you're not doing the schedule, you're not doing any of that, you're doing everything outside of that. I just absolutely love it. And I think that it definitely solves a problem. And it's one of the best solutions that I've seen. And I've been in this industry for a long time. So again, not for the shameless plug for you, but congratulations, because I really, really love it.
Thank you. We love what we do. We've been working on it for 8 years. And we have some of the best minds in Silicon Valley working on it. So, again, thank you for the plug. But
it solves a problem. For sure.
Yes. So we want people to be very transparent. Mm-hmm. And we want the clubs, the sports organizations, start thinking about data. Everything is data. Data. And we anticipate and the changes. The greatest hockey player ever played said, Greg Witzke said, you skate to where the puck is going to be. You don't wait for the puck to come to you.
That's great. I love that.
We follow that. You always skate to where the puck is going to be. So anticipate and be Don't wait. Mm-hmm. Always, and I really advise to have all the clubs to have free memberships. Have sort of free memberships to these kids that cannot afford it in the next 2-3 years. Don't lose these kids to sitting home, mm-hmm. doing nothing. Mm-hmm. So whatever you can do, find a way to bring them in.
Even if it's a free Friday night skills, something to just engage in the community. And then maybe like every coach that is a part of your organization has to rotate through running that. So it's not just pressure on, one or two. And if you didn't build it within your budget to pay for the staffing for that, you make this part of bringing back to life youth sports and being able to provide a service to the community. And you honestly, the benefit of that is you never know what diamond in the rough you're going to see. You're never going to know what kid, it's how you build your business.
I don't know a soccer coach who would not volunteer an hour of their time a week to be there and be just standing around as an adult, supervision.
Right.
I really don't. They will all do it. Hey, listen, it's part of doing business. Every business does it. Every business tries to recruit customers with free memberships now.
Right.
Everybody does it. Certain roles you need to look at the board. You need to look at your board and start thinking differently. Again, you have a lot of social media, a lot of marketing, a lot of intelligence, a lot of business development. That's all should be done on a board level where if you have 1,000 kids in your club, that means you have 1,000 families in your club, which means you have to have at least 20 to 50 people that are very expert in marketing and information and business development and alliances and, to come in and sit on your board and be leaders in these for your club.
Absolutely.
And they enjoy it. I love it working with the clubs I work with. I give my time away quite a bit. If I believe in karma, whatever you put, you get back.
Certainly.
And most people do that. And again, youth sports has been great to us the last 8 years. So we'll do everything to make sure that the market comes back thriving like it did before.
Well, and I think that, to touch on kind of the board and the organization and who you involve in that, I think originally it was very much kind of parent run, parent driven. Then it transitioned into coaches only, no parents, and there was this separation. I think the new model needs to be you bring back in the people that support your organization. There all obviously has to be clear boundaries and guidelines so that someone's not doing it for self-promotion of their child, right? But I think that that's unfortunately been the misguided view from organizations that's the only reason that parents want to be a part and support. But truly, people are doing this because they're willing to dedicate their time to an organization and help with these different things because they believe in the organization. And I just think that needs to be looked at from a club.
Yeah, strategically. A club
has
to think of themselves, again, they are a hub to the community. They become a great hub. And how they can utilize that, being a hub, it generates more revenues, means more revenue if it's utilized properly, if it's done properly.
Right, definitely.
I think that's there's nothing in every local community like a youth sports club. Seriously, it's the parents want to volunteer their time, the parents are involved, and most of the places, the parents want to be able the club to be better.
Yes.
So utilize that. Take that to your advantage.
Absolutely.
Don't think the parents trying to meddle into your business. They want to help it. If you can put together a nice board that helps you promote your club and be able to elevate it, that's great.
Absolutely.
In tournaments, we believe the customer experience is going to be paramount. The travel is going to be localized in the next year or so. I don't think anybody is going to get in an airplane and go to a tournament that's 1,500 miles away. Maybe a few national tournaments,
right.
But mostly it's going to be tournaments where you can drive, 200 miles. You can drive it there in 3-4 hours. If things happen, you can just get in the car and go back home. It is, again, this is my belief. In in the long term or short term, sponsorship is going to be data driven.
Mm-hmm.
It's more data you have, the better chance of getting more money for sponsorships.
Definitely.
And the personalization is going to be paramount because the millennials is going to demand it, where they can create their own personal experience within the experience.
Mm-hmm.
And the state play concept, I don't know where that's going to be in the next 2 years if people don't have money to stay in these hotels with all the extra charges.
Well, I will say we did a survey asking, parents what their opinion is on the return to play process post-COVID. And one of the questions was in regards to stay and play for tournaments and leagues that require travel. And 90% of the responses indicated that they do not want to pay an inflated hotel price and be told where to stay. So that right there is what the market is communicating, and the organizations that are running this need to look at this and address this part of the concern, because the state of play model has just started to feel like a money grab. And parents feel it. Like it's one of those things that like you do it because you have to and you're trying to, but you're annoyed and you're irritated and you're just paying a little bit more and it's unnecessary. So I think that there can certainly be a happy medium, because from the organizational standpoint, the people that are running the tournament or coordinating it, you also want to provide that service by saying, okay, here is the hotels. We want to, book the appropriate number of rooms. We want to make sure that there's enough for everybody, because then the other side, the people are going to complain if you don't do that, right?
Absolutely.
I think the mistake is when they raise the price too much.
That is part of the customer experience.
Mm-hmm.
Tournament directors need to be able to negotiate lower rates, maybe with the fields.
Right.
With everybody. It's expensive to run a tournament.
Yeah.
And it's not easy. It's not an easy task neither. But I think the hotel experience, or the whole logistic experience about restaurants, hotels, parking, merchandise, if it is personalized and put together nicely and provided a great experience to the customer, then the customer might say, okay, the rates have to be competitive, because if I'm going somewhere, customers are very savvy these days, extremely savvy, and they've been savvy for the last 10 years. Everybody can see a hotel rate. They can go to Expedia or Kayak, and 1, 2, 3, they see all the rates of the hotels at the same time.
Right.
They're going to ask you, why am I to be able to be very competitive? They have to provide that personalized experience to the customer. It's paramount.
Yeah.
How does tournament do this deal with stay and play? That to be seen. I heard some tournament directors say it's more needed now than ever. And I heard some tournament directors say we're thinking about saying these are preferred vendors. We appreciate if you stay there. And that could be the better message.
Yeah.
When we do a tournament, we do not mark it up. We walk away from tournaments that want to have markups.
Right.
We refuse to do that, because the customer is the first person to complain to is us. And then they complain to the hotel about the rate. So we don't want that. If we cannot get a lower rate than what's out there, we walk away.
Well, and then on your service too, doesn't it provide the opportunity for more individual customization? Like a manager can pick what hotel they want and they're the ones that are coordinating that?
We call it personalization more than customization.
Okay.
A team can personalize their trip, and parents within the team can personalize their trip within that trip.
Wow.
This way, it is very, very, we looked at it from the team perspective. It's very important to look at it from the parents' perspective and see what they want to do and how they want to spend their money. It is because playing youth sports is very expensive. Competitive youth sports is very expensive. Yeah. So our goal was to lower the cost of travel at the same time to allow youth to play sports any way we can. But this is my presentation. Right now, we're giving away a scholarship for $1,500 to clubs. All what they have to do is go to travelish.com and apply. It takes less than 2 minutes to apply.
Okay.
It is, and the deadline is May 31st, so it's coming around the corner. We see it in this end how many clubs apply, so we know that pain is real.
Yeah.
And if it is successful, we might do it again next quarter.
I think that's really amazing. I mean, just to be able to, again, organize something and you give back because your passion is to make sure that these businesses, which they're small businesses that serve such a need in the community, but they thrive and stay and grow and make it through this very difficult time that we're in right now. And if you really stop for a second and look at the benefit that the kids get from being a part of any sport, it's just tremendous. And it's incredibly important that, we all do our part. So I'm really grateful to you for organizing this. And
this is the least we can do right now.
Yeah, I think it's important.
So that's it. This is my presentation. Again, be a maverick out there. Change.
Yeah.
Adapt the change. Skate to where the puck is going to be, and think differently.
I love that. I think we title this one "Skate to Where the Puck is Going to Be" because I think that's perfect. This is so good. I so appreciate the conversation with you as always. You're so innovative and you're so dedicated to this, and you inspire me, and I just appreciate getting to know you and the ability to work with you, and I really appreciate it.
Thank you very much, Jennifer.
You are so welcome.
Give me the time, and you too is doing really good for the clubs with your insurance policies, and hopefully you can come up with your new product very soon.
Yep, definitely. Yeah, we're going to talk on that one. We've got lots to talk about. So, okay. Well, thank you, and we will talk soon.
Bye-bye.
Bye.